about to call the meeting of the Senate Finance Committee to order. I first start with asking for the roll to be called.
You have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I will remind you that any bills passed by for the day at this point may not be rescheduled. Let me repeat that. I know it told some of you that the bill could go by for the day, but based on the agenda that we have, we're probably going to be midnight getting out of here for the next 2 meetings. So we'll let your bills go by for the day, but there is no guarantee that the bill will be rescheduled. Members should plan for a Thursday evening meeting upon adjournment of Resources Subcommittee, which begins at 3 p.m. We will first hear bills that have not been through a subcommittee, and I will ask staff to present subcommittee recommendations. Today's bills have no public comment. And we want to start first up with non-members, and that will begin with Senator
Jillian, can you call the roll?
LaSharice Ayers.
Did we call the roll? We did. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I have several bills before you this morning, but can I start by just striking Senate Bill 490? I believe it's the maternal mortality or chief medical examiner work group.
At the patient's request, the bill will be stricken. All in favor of that? Second? All in favor say aye. Aye. We need a recorded vote. All in favor of the patron striking her own bill? Report your vote aye or nay.
Ayes 14, no 0.
Ayes 14, no 0. The patron has
Madam Chair, can we?
Stricken.
Madam Chair, can we then go to Senate Bill 645, local fiscal distress? Unless you wanted to do another
In
one
whatever
first.
order you choose.
Excuse me?
Whatever order you choose.
Okay, great. So, Madam Chair and members of the committee, before you is Senate Bill 645, dealing with structuring a framework by which the Commonwealth can set up a process to helping our most vulnerable localities when they are in a really difficult financial situation. I want to draw specific attention to the distinction between the introduced bill versus the substitute that is before you that passed out of the local government committee. If you have heard anything about this bill, you may have heard that this is legislation that's going to allow the governor to come in and take over localities, and I want to dispel that right off the top. That is not what this legislation does. Ultimately, you may be familiar with language that exists in the budget already that allows the APA to do much of what this legislation is, and this is simply codifying that language. The newest portion of this bill is to allow for the appointment of an emergency fiscal distress manager from the Commission on Local Government once a locality has been notified 6 or more times, has requested a plan be submitted several times, help has been offered several times, but ultimately the locality has failed to respond to any of those things or demonstrate a willingness to rectify their financial distress status. I want to clarify that there are a number of localities on the fiscal distress list. However, this legislation will not affect all of them. This is really about a locality that is in crisis mode. And as you know, as a Commonwealth, we cannot allow any of our localities to file bankruptcy or to fall into a state where they are not able to function financially. But Madam Chair and members of the committee, what I will tell you is I've lived through this now twice. I had a locality call to say, we can't make our payroll, we can't make our health insurance payments for our employees. And what did I have to do? I had to get on the phone with you all as financial committee chairs, the Secretary of Finance, the Treasurer, to figure out how do we help this locality. but all the warning signs were there. They had not been submitting their CAFR. They had been receiving attempts to help them, and we had nothing in place to be supportive to this locality. This allows us to do that moving forward. I have a locality right now, that was the past, that is unable to support functions like its wastewater treatment plant that is responsible to a military base and 5 manufacturing entities that are the entirety of its tax base. And so today before you, you have a fiscal impact of $390, but I would say that is a small amount to pay for what the Commonwealth would be on the hook for if this locality did indeed fail. The other thing I want to just really further clarify is that there is language in the bill that allows that once the emergency fiscal distress manager to be appointed, they, and again, by the Commission on Local Government, they are empowered to do as much as they can to rectify the finances of that locality, which may mean, and the language specifically says, temporarily assuming some of the financial duties that may traditionally fall under the authority of the treasurer, so that when the house is on fire, they can quickly put the fire out and get that locality back into a position of financial strength. And so to sum it up, Madam Chair, again, this is not about the governor coming in and taking over any locality. That's not what the bill does. Much of this language is already present in the budget. We're codifying that, the early warning system, the notifications. And this is for when a locality is in its very worst position, it can then get the help that it needs from us.
Thank you for that presentation, Senator Aird. Senator McPike has questions, and then Senator Obenchain.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's more of a statement, because this is something that many of us has worked on, and as well as some that were on this committee that have retired, did many years of work at setting up a structure of identifying fiscal distress. What's worried me is something that the senator and patrons working on, which is, for years, they filed no reports and kind of shrugged it off. I mean, at some point, I think this is a very much needed tool where there are localities that continue to not respond to information we requested as part of this process, and no other results come from it. And I think in the meantime, you have citizens that aren't getting the services they need. We do need an instrument, and I think this is a good one, Madam Chair.
Senator Obenchain, and then Senator Locke.
Madam Chair, question for the patron or for council.
Senator Obenchain.
I want to support this bill. I'm getting a lot of inquiries from constitutional officers who are concerned that this would somehow would impact them and could be used to essentially take over their offices. Can this be applied to constitutional officers? I read it as simply applying to localities.
So there is, before council answers, I'll say there is in the section regarding the emergency fiscal distress manager, the language does specifically talk about being able to temporarily assume the financial duties in order for that emergency fiscal distress manager to get the finances in order. To be clear, this does not displace the treasurer or and quite frankly, we're not talking about any other constitutional officer, to be clear. So this does not do that. It's just not, that's not possible.
Council? Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, Senator, speaking with our local government attorneys, there is a process by which the General Assembly could do that, and that's laid out in code, and it is constitutional as far as we understand at the division.
Madam Chair, just quick follow-up. Does this bill address that, or is that addressed elsewhere in code?
Madam Chair, this bill is targeted, I believe, a little bit more, so if the General Assembly did wish to go beyond the scope of this bill, they could, but as I read it, I don't believe it goes beyond that in addressing your concerns.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Locke.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Obenshain asked part of my question, but the other part of that is, this is, if I may ask to Senator Ayer, this is for localities that are in severe fiscal stress. Can you define
Certainly.
what that means?
Certainly, Senator Locke, there is in the language a very specific structured definition of fiscal distress, but I don't want this to be confused with like the list you typically see where there's a rating of localities in fiscal distress. This is talking about, again, a locality that has failed to respond to the APA's inquiries. They have been notified several times that they think that they fall into this category of concern. And I think I counted at least 6 different attempts to contact them to have them submit either a plan or respond to the inquiries. And this is literally when that locality is failing financially. This is not just for a locality that has been labeled in fiscal distress, but specifically has failed to respond to the Commonwealth after numerous efforts and attempts to make sure that they are financially not failing. And again, the 2 examples that I gave are not hypothetical. Those are real situations that have occurred where the localities cannot meet payroll, they cannot pay the health insurance of their employees. Like, these are the things that are happening to a locality in that state. Thank you, Senator.
Other questions of the patron? Comments? Motion? It has been moved and second that the bill be reported. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
I thank the committee.
Ayes 10, noes 4, 1 abstention.
Ayes 10, noes 4, 1 abstention. The bill is reported.
Madam Chair, might I ask if there are any other bills that I have that are not included in the subcommittee report?
Madam
You
Chair.
have four. You have Senate Bill 484.
Okay, is that the committee? Okay, thank you so much. Madam Chair and members of the committee, before you is legislation to establish the Community Builders Pilot Program, essentially a school-based community intervention program designed to combat youth gun violence. The legislation does a few simple things to include, again, the establishment of the pilot program, to create a fund to support the work of the program, and furthermore outline the fund to support, to fund the functions of the program that include data-proven strategies and techniques of combating gun violence, structured for both after-school and summer for 100 students, to include additional developmental programs like workforce development. This is specifically for the city of Petersburg and Roanoke, and so we're hoping that these 2 localities that have seen severe rates of youth-involved gun and violence, that we can attempt this as a mechanism that might be successful across the state, but just in a pilot mode right now, Madam Chair.
Any questions of the patron on Senate Bill 484? Comments? Second. It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill is reported. Senator Ayer, your other bills will be in the subcommittee report, will be in the reports on the general government.
Thank you.
Senator Head.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning.
We have Senate Bill 418. And Senate
We'll
Bill
call your attention to Senate Bill 418. Go ahead, Senator Head.
Senate Bill 418 seeks to make the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, which is already the official Museum of Transportation and home of the 611, which is the official steam engine of the Commonwealth of Virginia, to become a state agency as a museum. Annually, they right now serve about 50,000 people a year from around the world who come to see that. In addition, they also provide excursions periodically with the 611 pulling those trains, and those do pull in an international crowd, and there are requests for more of those. The conversion of this to a state agency will help with increasing the tourism impact for the area and even across the state. One of the things that will be facilitated by doing this is, among other things, giving easier access to a couple of the rail lines that are owned by the Commonwealth for utilization for some of the excursions that would be able to expand the tourism impact to more of a statewide opportunity than they currently have. I might also like to note that from a fiscal impact standpoint, there are currently 7 other museums that are state agencies in the Commonwealth. On average, each of those costs about $6.5 million per year, with the range anywhere from $13 million down to just under $3 million for the Frontier Cultural Museum. That's based on taking the cost of operation and subtracting the ticket sales and revenue that they are generating to come up with that cost. If we could do this for the Museum of Transportation, the net impact using that same formula drops it down to an impact of only about $350,000 annually. So pretty good opportunity for tourism investment, and hope that we'll be able to act favorably on this. And I think there are several people here that would like to speak in favor of this.
Senator Deeds?
Senator Head, we're not taking public comment on these bills. I like the bill, I like the idea, and I think this is one of the better buys for a museum, but I don't know that we can do $1 million this year. So I would move that we carry the bill over for the year and see what we can do with the budget in this year.
It has been moved and seconded that the bill be continued. All in favor of that motion, please designate your preference electronically.
Thank you for your consideration. We'll see you next year.
Ayes 14, noes 1.
Ayes 14, noes 1. The bill will be carried over. Senator Rouse, you're up next.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I have SB 650 in front of you, and I do have a substitute.
It has been moved and seconded that substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye. Substitute is agreed to. Senator Rouse.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The substitute removes the portion of the legislation that creates and funds a grant program and leaves the portion of the legislation that requires the Department of Fire Programs to convene a work group.
Senator Rouse.
Yes.
I know we agreed to. Now you have a committee sub. We have a committee. Okay.
Is that what we just agreed to?
No, that was his sub. We have a committee sub as well.
I'll move the committee sub.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the committee sub be agreed to. All in favor say aye. Aye. I will have a staff attorney explain what the committee sub says.
Madam Chair, I defer to fiscal staff. They had prepared this shortly before the meeting.
Madam Chair, it's very similar to the patron sub. I think the difference is it's a little more general. It says that the Department of Fire Programs shall convene the work group to review what is available for local government employees, to give them access to preemptive or to look at what's available for access to preemptive care and to the after effects that aren't covered by relevant health insurance. It removes retirement system and Department of Treasury and adds a workers' compensation commission. And then the language for the work group is more general with review related to relevant approaches, other approaches, and nonprofit assistance as well. It adds that. And the work group reporting it back its findings to the General Assembly November 1, 2024. So very similar to the patron sub, but a little more general.
Similar, Madam Chair, if it's amenable to the committee, will they be able to look at emergency where toxic materials are present, and that was basically the form of this legislation.
I apologize, but that was part of the first part.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank
Madam
you,
Chair.
Thank you. Senator Rouse, you may continue with your presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. This legislation was formed out of what happened on Good Friday back in 2012, where a Navy F-18 Hornet crashed just moments after takeoff from NAS Oceana into apartments complex, injuring 7. And while there were no fatalities, Madam Chair, the first responders who responded to that event were exposed to burning toxic materials, including carbon fibers, burning fuel, hydraulic fluids, aircraft fuselage, and forever chemicals referred to as and forever chemicals. And so, but since that day, a number of city staff who worked that crash scene have contracted different forms of cancer, and some of whom have not survived that. And so this is a very important legislation to convene that work group to look at events such as this.
Madam Chair,
Thank you for that presentation. Senator Deeds.
we adopted the committee substitute. I'd move to report it.
Second.
It's been moved and second that the committee, that report with the substitute be reported. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically your preference.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee.
You're very
Ayes
wel-
15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute. I don't see my patrons. While we're waiting for other patrons, Senator Subramanian would like for his bills, SJ 14, to be carried over. And so
moved.
there's a motion and a second that the bill be carried over. All in favor, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill will be carried over. Are there other patrons out there?
Madam President, I got 2 on your first.
Until the patrons get here, we're going to go on with the reports. And we're going to start with the general
Madam Chair,
government.
I've got 2 on your first chunk there.
Second?
I have 2 bills on the first part of the docket there at the bottom. I don't know if you want to do mine or.
We're going to do member bills last.
We're going to do members' bills last.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay, so we're going to have the report for the general government subcommittee. Mike will do that report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the General Government Subcommittee report should be in your purple packet. Starting with Senate Bill 480 by Senator Aird. This bill deals with prohibiting a utility company from disconnecting services in certain conditions, weather conditions, as well as Fridays, weekends, and holidays. The subcommittee recommended reporting the bill 5 yes, 0 no.
You've heard the report. There's a motion and a second to report. Thank you. Senate Bill 480, all in favor of that motion?
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is reported. Mike?
The next one is Senate Bill 481, also by Senator Aird. This one deals with the abolition of juvenile fines and fees for criminal offenses. The subcommittee recommended continuing the bill, 5 yes, 0 no.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor? To be carried over. Will please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill will be continued.
The next bill is Senate Bill 495 by Senator Aird. This deals with live-in domestic workers and applying overtime pay provisions for people employed in domestic service in a household. The subcommittee recommended reporting the bill, 5 yes, 0 no.
You've heard the report of the bill on Senate Bill 494. All in favor of reporting, please designate electronically your preference.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill is
The next
reported.
bill is Senate Bill 625 by Senator Bagby. It deals with deferred or installment payment agreements. It exempts individuals whose sole financial resources is Social Security benefits or SSI benefits from being required to pay court costs and fines. The subcommittee recommended reporting 5 yes, 0 no.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor? Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 13, noes 2.
Ayes 13, noes 2. The bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 374 by Senator Boysko that deals with collective bargaining by public employees. It repeals the existing prohibition on it for public employees and establishes the Public Employee Relations Board. The subcommittee recommended carrying over the bill 5 yes, 0 no, and to review options in the interim.
Senator Boysko, you want to be heard?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Senator. Madam Chair, if we could take that by for the day, I'd be grateful.
I will take it by for the day, but you remember the earlier motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, earlier.
Madam.
You're going to take your chances?
Madam Chair, I've spoken to our staff, and we think we can get it in a posture that would be acceptable to the committee by tomorrow.
You've heard the motion by the patron. Is there a second? Second. And the second, so the bill will be by for the day.
The next bill is Senate Bill 633 by Senator Deeds that deals with court fines and fees by indigent defendants, that authorizes a waiver of the significant number of the statutory fees and costs. The subcommittee recommended carrying over the bill 4 yes, 0 no.
You've heard the report. Any questions of members of the committee? Motion? It's been moved and second that the bill be carried over. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically.
Ayes 14, noes 0, 1 abstention.
Ayes 14, no 0, and 1 abstention. The bill will be carried over.
The next bill is Senate Bill 301 by Senator DeSteff. This provides an appeal process for any person or committee assessed a civil penalty under the Campaign Finance Disclosure Act. The subcommittee recommended reporting the bill 4 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported. I thought I saw continue. Reported. All in favor of that motion or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 197 by Senator Diggs. This deals with the Attorney General and authorizes the Attorney General with the concurrence of a local attorney of the Commonwealth to prosecute cases involving violation of criminal sexual assault or commercial sex trafficking when they're committed against a child. The subcommittee recommended carrying over the bill 3 yes, 2 no.
You've heard the report to carry the bill over. Motion?
Move to carry over. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be carried over. Please designate electronically.
Ayes 9, noes 6.
Ayes 9, no 6. The bill will be carried over.
The next bill is Senate Bill 401. This deals with military leaves of absence for employees of the Commonwealth and political subdivisions of the Commonwealth, allowing them to take a leave of absence of up to 388 work hours in order to complete their military duty for reservist training or National Guard training. The subcommittee recommended reporting the bill 5 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 14, noes 1.
Ayes 14, noes 1. The bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 87 by Senator Favola. This deals with health insurance provider panels and contracts between the carrier and primary care providers related to incentives for mental health services. The subcommittee recommends reporting the bill. 5 yes, 0 no.
You've heard the report? So moved. It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, designate electronically. Likewise for those who are voting no.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 646 by Senator French. This removes the time limitation on filing a claim of awards from the Criminal Injuries Compensation Fund to individuals who are victim of felony sexual abuse offense as a minor. The subcommittee recommends reporting the bill. 5 yes, 0 no.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 242 by Senator McPike. This deals with the Virginia Public Procurement Act and deals with exceptions to contractual terms as part of competitive negotiations. The subcommittee recommends reporting. 5 yes, 0 no.
You've heard the report
So moved.
and a second. Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 573 by Senator Obenshain. Bill establishes the Virginia Public Safety Communications Infrastructure Fund to award competitive grants related to public safety and communications improvement projects. The subcommittee did recommend adopting a substitute and then reporting the bill. 4 yes, 1 abstention.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye. It has been moved that the bill be reported with the substitute. All in favor, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill will be reported with the substitute.
The next bill is Senate Bill 356 by Senator Perry. This deals with increasing the fees for court-appointed counsel. There is a subcommittee, the subcommittee recommended adopting a substitute that lowers the fiscal impact and then reporting the bill. 5 yes, 0 no.
You've heard the report. There's a motion and a second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye. Thank you. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported with the substitute. All in favor, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill will be reported with the substitute.
The next bill is Senate Bill 315 by Senator Salim. This deals with voter registration and the automatic transfer of registration record data related to changes in name and address between the DMV and the Department of Elections. The subcommittee recommended reporting the bill. 5 yes, 0 no.
You've heard the report.
Move to report.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. Designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 270 by Senator Subramaniam. It deals with ranked choice voting for presidential primaries. Due to the potential fiscal impact and understanding how it would actually work, the subcommittee recommended adding a reenactment clause and then reporting the bill. 5 yes, 0 no.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the amendment. All in favor say aye. No, is that the same, right? Can I get a motion, please?
It's been seconded. It's been seconded.
Second.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported as amended. I was waiting for that other part of it. Please designate electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill will be reported with an amendment.
The next bill is Senate Bill 196 by Senator Van Valkenburg. This deals with voter registration and list maintenance for data standards to basically review the sources of data used for list maintenance and other provisions. The subcommittee recommended reporting the bill 5 yes, 0 no.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, please designate electronically. Voter registration. Thank you.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 428 by Senator Van Valkenburg. So this deals with for elections for local or constitutional officers that allows them to be conducted by ranked choice voting. The subcommittee recommended amending the bill and reporting it 5 yes, 0 no.
You've heard the report.
Is there an amendment? Oh, patron.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. All in favor or not, designate electronically.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Ayes 11, noes 4. The bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 606 by Senator Van Valkenburg. This bill relates to voter registration. It directs the Department of Elections to rejoin the Electronic Registration Information Center.
You've heard the report. It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 514 by Senator Williams Graves. This deals with fines and costs, changing the period of limitations for collection. The subcommittee recommended amending the bill and then reporting it 4 yes, 1 no.
I need a motion on the amendment.
What was the amendment, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair?
Council?
Katie could do it.
Madam Chair, Senator Deeds, the amendment essentially clarifies current law. So with the new provision that was added, currently if I'm an inmate, my earnings, if I'm on a work release or something, they go towards my court fines and costs and restitution. Basically, the bill as it came over, because it wouldn't be due yet, said that doesn't happen. My inmate earnings don't go to my court fines and costs. This would amend it back to current law, but it would leave in place the tolling and nothing would change about the due date of my deferred payment agreement.
Senator Servo, thank you.
Yeah, speaking of the bill, Madam Chair, Senator Deeds, this bill and I think the other Williams Graves bill, we added identical amendments saying it wouldn't affect any deferred payment agreements that are already in place. So we're not trying to rewrite existing arrangements. Those were the two amendments on each bill.
Move to report as amended.
There's a motion to report as amended. Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill is reported with the amendment.
And Madam Chair, the last bill is Senate Bill 654, also by Senator Williams Graves, that deals with fines, cost forfeitures, and collection fees. The subcommittee also recommended amending it similar to the prior bill and then reporting it 4 yes, 1 no.
There's a motion and a second that the amendment be adopted. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion. It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported with the amendment. All in favor or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill will be reported with the amendment.
Madam Chairman, there was one having voted on the prevailing side on Senate Bill 315. We'll move to reconsider that vote.
$3.15? Okay, right. Okay, there is a motion to reconsider the vote on Senate Bill 315. All in favor say aye. Aye. It's going to be a recorded vote. That's what I remember. You gotta keep bills. Thank you.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. Senate Bill 315 will be reconsidered. It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reconsidered, that the bill be reported. All in favor, please designate electronically. Deeds.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill will be reported. Next, we have the Public Safety Subcommittee report, and that's going to be given by Katie.
Madam Chair, the first bill heard by the Public Safety Subcommittee was Senate Bill 547, Senator Bagby. This directs the Department of Criminal Justice Services to establish in-service training standards and minimum curriculum for law enforcement officers in communicating with individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities. And the subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
You've heard the report. It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor or not, designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero, the bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 719, Senator Bagby. This prohibits isolated confinement in state correctional facilities, which is defined as confinement to a cell for more than 17 hours per day, with certain exceptions. The subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 3 yes, 2 no, 1 abstention.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 9, noes 5, 1 abstention.
Ayes 9, noes 5, 1 abstention. The bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 491, Senator Carol Foy. This prohibits a member of the firearm industry from engaging in conduct that constitutes a proximate cause of public nuisance and creates a civil liability for such conduct. And the subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
You've heard the report. It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. That's Senate Bill 491. Please designate electronically your preference.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 383, Senator Deeds. This prohibits individuals from carrying a firearm or explosive material in a building owned or operated by a public institution of higher education with certain exceptions. The subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor? Designate electronically. Or
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 427, Senator Deeds, establishes a petition process for any person incarcerated in a state or local correctional facility to request a sentence modification if they meet certain requirements. For example, if they have to serve their sentence for 15 to 25 years, depending on the crime. And the subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 3 yes, 2 no, 1 abstention.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. Please designate electronically your preference.
Ayes 9, noes 5, 1 abstention.
Ayes 9, noes 5, 1 abstention. The bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 710, Senator Deeds. This authorizes an additional 5 judgeships, all of which have been approved by the Committee on District Courts and the Judicial Council. And the subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
Move report. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, please designate electronically.
Ayes 14, noes 0, 1 abstention.
Ayes 14, no 0, 1 abstention. The bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 731, Senator Durant. This expands the definition of child pornography to include depictions that meet certain criteria and where, regardless of whether the minor actually exists. And the subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 80, Senator Favola. This would require DOC probation officers to track progress quarterly to assess probationers' progress and to reduce their community supervision sentence if they meet specified criteria. The committee recommends a substitute, and the substitute would be a Section 1 study that essentially directed the Department of Corrections to compare what they currently do to what would be done under the bill so we can get a better sense of the fiscal impact.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, say aye.
Move report. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with a substitute.
The next bill is Senate Bill 88, Senator Locke. This revises the process for decertification of a law enforcement officer, and the subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
Move report. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 394, Senator Perry. This relates to carnal knowledge of a confidential informant, and the subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, please designate electronically your preference.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 642, Senator Perry. This establishes a Class 1 misdemeanor for certain conduct related to firearms after a misdemeanor conviction of assault and battery against an intimate partner, and the subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, designate electronically. Or not.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 614, Senator Pillion. This adds xylazine to the list of Schedule III drugs, and the subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
You've heard the report. It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 327, Senator Salim, prohibits the purchase or sale of a firearm to individuals under 21 years of age. The subcommittee recommends reporting 4 yes, 2 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 44, Senator Van Valkenburg, establishes a Class 5 felony for any parent or guardian whose willful act or omission causes their child to gain access to a firearm if they had reason to believe that the child posed a danger. And the subcommittee recommends amending the bill and reporting it by a vote of 4 yes, 2 abstentions.
Madam Chairman.
Senator McDougall.
Madam Chairman, this was a bill that we saw a new substitute in committee, and I think, I don't want to know what percentage, but a high percentage of it looked right to me, and there's some parts that I'm not sure we got the right words of. I think it opens it up past what we were looking to do. Would the committee be willing to let us get the input from our court staff committee before moving it forward? I do think it's important policy that we move forward, but there were a couple words that I think we need to at least have a better sense of what they do, even if we have a disagreement, because I think it could change it.
Madam Chair.
I remember very vividly your conversation.
Yes.
Chair.
Senator Marsden.
I concur with Senator McDougall. There's just a few little fixes that need to get into that bill.
That's going to be permissible, yes.
Madam Chairman, so thank you for, so if I understand that, we could take it by for today and it'll be on tomorrow's docket?
Yes.
Because this is important for us to deal with. I don't want to jeopardize it for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Okay, there's a motion and a second that the bill be carried over for the day. All in favor, please designate electronically.
You can just say aye.
Aye.
You can say aye. Aye is fine.
Senate Bill 515, Senator Williams Graves. This prohibits possessing or transferring a firearm or certain other weapons in a hospital, that as long as notice is provided. And the subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported. Please designate your preference electronically, your yeas and your nays.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 696, Senator Williams Graves establishes a resentencing process for individuals convicted of a felony offense involving the possession, manufacture, sale, or other activities related to marijuana and who are currently either incarcerated or on community supervision. And the subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported. Please designate electronically your yeas and your nays.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill will be reported.
That concludes the Public Safety Subcommittee report.
Thank you so much, Katie. The next report will be that of the Resources Subcommittee, and Tyler will be given that report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 536, Senator Bagby, relating to unemployment compensation, the continuation of benefits. The subcommittee recommends adopting an amendment. The amendment makes the provisions of this bill expire July 1st, 2028, and then the subcommittee recommends reporting the bill 3 yes, 0 no.
Move the amendment.
Move the amendment.
There's a motion and a second that the amendment be agreed to. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion?
Move to report.
It has been moved and second that the bill be reported with the amendment. Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the amendment.
The next bill, Senate Bill 550, Senator Deeds, relating to liquid nicotine and nicotine vapor products. The subcommittee recommends adopting a substitute and reporting 4 yes, 0 no.
Move the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye. Motion?
Move to report.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported with the amendment. All in favor, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 205, Senator Diggs, related to toll invoicing. The subcommittee recommends reporting the bill 4 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 582, Senator Evans, relating to the tobacco products registration of retailers. The subcommittee passed by for the day and will take it up tomorrow. Senate Bill 297, Senator French, relates to the tax credit for agriculture best management practices. The subcommittee recommends reporting 4 yes, 0 no.
I move to report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 298, Senator French, related to conservation and agriculture application equipment tax credit. The subcommittee recommends reporting 4 yes, 0 no.
Move to report.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 698, Senator French, relating to the Dam Safety Flood Prevention Fund. The subcommittee recommends continuing 4 yes, 0 no.
Move to carry over.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be carried over. All in favor, please designate electronically.
Madam
Senator McDougal, I'm sorry.
Madam Chairman, I don't want to stop the vote, but in this one, I think we did discuss maybe we could look at altering the levels at which you can get access to the fund, because right now people might not be able to access the fund, but we'll look at that in the budget. So,
Sure.
thank you.
Monsieur Pullian?
Ayes 12, noes 3.
Ayes 12, noes 3. The bill will be carried over.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 163, Senator Hackworth, relating to the Southwest Regional Recreation Authority and their powers. Subcommittee recommends continuing 3 yes, 1 no.
So moved.
It's moved second that the bill be continued. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill will be continued.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 564, Senator Hackworth, relating to the individual income tax subtraction for income earned in double distress localities. The subcommittee recommends adopting a committee substitute. The committee substitute directs tax and the Commission on Local Government to study the potential for an income tax subtraction in double distress localities. And the subcommittee recommends reporting the substitute 4 yes, 0 no.
Motion on the substitute. There's a motion and a second to agree to the substitute. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Move the report.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported with the substitute. Please designate electronically your preference.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, noes 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 251, Senator Hashmi, relating to the Content Manufacturing Tax Credit, formerly known as the Motion Picture Production Tax Credit. The subcommittee recommends continuing the bill 4 yes, 0 no.
Madam Chair.
Senator Hashmi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With the acknowledgement to the admonition that you made, can I respectfully ask that this bill go by for the day?
The bill will, at the request of the patron, the bill will go by for the day.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 410, Senator Head, relating to the Governor's Major Entertainment Opportunity Fund. The subcommittee recommends that the bill be passed by indefinitely 3 yes, 1 no.
I so moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill will be passed by indefinitely. All in favor of that motion or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Ayes 11, noes 4. The bill will be passed by indefinitely.
The next bill, Senate Bill 419, Senator Head, relating to a family caregiver tax credit. The subcommittee recommends continuing the bill 4 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill will be continued. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Ayes 11, noes 4. The bill will be continued.
The next bill, Senate Bill 310, Senator Jordan, relating to a tax credit for non-family adoptions. The subcommittee recommends passing by indefinitely the bill 3 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It has been moved and seconded that the bill be passed by indefinitely. All in favor of that motion or not will designate electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill will be passed by indefinitely.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 457, Senator Marsden, related to a creation of a fund for driving decarbonization program and fund. The subcommittee recommends passing the bill by indefinitely 4 yes, 0 no.
Madam Chair,
Senator Marsden.
would like if that bill could go by for the day, understanding Madam Chair's advisory.
Right. You may never hear it again.
Be no worse off.
At the request of the patron, the bill will go by for the day, without exception.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 459, Senator Marsden, relates to the rolling conformity income tax provisions that were adopted last year. The subcommittee recommends continuing the bill 4 yes, 0 no after there is extensive discussion about this bill.
Extensive.
Do we want to continue it? Can we move to carry on? Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the bill be carried over. All in favor, please designate electronically. Oh, you like this bill?
Ayes 13, noes 2.
Ayes 13, noes 2, but the bill will be carried over.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 593, Senator McPike's, relates to the workers' compensation benefits for post-traumatic stress disorder and anxiety disorders. The subcommittee recommends adopting a committee substitute and reporting 4 yes, 0
Any
no.
motion on the substitute? There's a motion and a second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Move to report the bill.
It has been moved and second that the bill be reported with the substitute. All in favor or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 709, Senator Obenshain, relates to the assessment of omitted taxes and erroneous payments. The subcommittee recommends adopting a substitute and reporting 4 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Substitute. Move the substitute.
There's a substitute, there's a motion and a second to agree to the substitute. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Substitute is agreed to. Now there's a motion to report with this substitute. All in favor or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 183, Senator Rouse, relates to the Earned Income Tax Credit. The subcommittee recommends continuing the bill 4 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It has been moved and seconded that the bill be continued. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be continued.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 464, Senator Stewart, relates to the Fisheries Innovation for Sustainable Harvest Fund. The subcommittee recommends adopting a committee substitute and then reporting the bill 4 yes, 0 no.
It has been moved and seconded that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion?
Move to report.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported with the substitute. All in favor, please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill is Senate Bill 669, Senator Stewart, relating to local economic development and commitments. The subcommittee recommends passing the bill by indefinitely 4 yes, 0 no.
I so move.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be passed by indefinitely. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically. Okay.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Ayes 11, noes 4. The bill will pass by indefinitely.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 431, Senator Suderline, relating to allowable alternatives for pupil transportation for school boards. The recommendation of the subcommittee is to carry over the bill and ask that the Joint Subcommittee on K-12 funding look at this issue 4 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill will be carried over, or continued, not carried, continued. All in favor of that motion, designate electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill will be continued.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 511, Senator Williams-Graves, relates to sales tax exemption for certain baby products. The subcommittee recommends passing by indefinitely 4 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It has been moved and seconded that the bill be passed by indefinitely. All in favor of that motion or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, noes 0. The bill passed by indefinitely.
The next bill, Senate Bill 512, Senator Williams-Graves, relates to a tax credit for the adaptive repurposing of underutilized structures. The subcommittee's recommendation is that the bill be passed by indefinitely with a letter to the Housing Commission to study the need for a tax credit. 4 yes, 0 no.
You've heard the motion and a second. Mm-hmm. The motion and the second is to pass by indefinitely with a letter. All in favor of that motion or not, Please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be passed by indefinitely with the letter.
Madam Chair, the next bill is Senate Bill 555, Senator Williams Graves, relating to a home buyer tax credit. The subcommittee made the same recommendation to pass the bill by indefinitely with a letter to the Housing Commission for yes, or no.
That's the motion. And a second. All in favor of that motion to pass by indefinitely with the letter, please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be passed by indefinitely with a letter.
Madam Chair, the final bill is Senate Bill 556, Senator Williams Grave, relating to the historic rehabilitation tax credit. The subcommittee recommends adopting a committee substitute and reporting for yes, or no. The substitute removes the doubling of the credit to $20 million in an enterprise zone or in a locality with an enterprise zone and delays the effective date to begin in tax year 2025.
There's a motion. On the substitute. All in favor of the substitute, please say aye.
Aye. Now move to report. Second.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported with the substitute. Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 13, noes 2.
Ayes 13, noes 2. The bill will be reported with the substitute. That completes that block.
It does. We can turn to committee member bills.
Now we can turn to committee member bills. And Senator Locke, would you like to go? Sure. You're at the top.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe there's a substitute for Senate Bill
So move the
636.
There's a motion
A second.
and a second to agree to the substitute. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Senator Locke?
You want us to describe the substitute?
Yes.
Madam Chair, Senator Locke, the committee substitute would take the bill back to a version that came before this committee last year. Instead of 10 sites and DVS, it would be DVHD and 2 sites, one in Northern Virginia and one in Hampton Roads.
With that, Madam Chair, Senate Bill 636 will establish a pilot program to make electroencephalogram-driven combined transcranial magnetic stimulation, and I want everybody to say that, available for veterans, current and former first responders, law enforcement officers, and agents of the Department of Defense and the Central Intelligence Agencies within the Commonwealth of Virginia. And that's essentially what it would do at those 2 sites.
Okay, you've heard the presentation by staff and further clarification by the patron. And of course, this is the substitute. So I will entertain a motion. There's a motion to agree to the substitute.
We adopted the
I mean, to agree to pass the bill with the report. Report the bill with the substitute.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported with the substitute. Please designate electronically your preference.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
We'll skip you and go to Marsden. Senate Bill 7.
Okay, we're going to skip over my bill and go to Senator Marsden, and that's Senate Bill 714. Senator Marsden.
Ready?
Senator Marsden. Oh, I was expecting you to present from here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 714, I believe we have a substitute. And I'll explain what the substitute does.
I don't have a substitute, Senator Marsden.
Okay, that,
We're on Senate Bill 714.
okay. My apologies. I thought this might have been already placed into the bill. So if I could, I'll proceed. Thank you, Madam Chair. We've had a vexing problem here in the Commonwealth with this sudden explosion of people interested in having very loud mufflers. Delegate Watts calls them macho mufflers. It's popping up in various places in the Commonwealth, but in particular in Planning District 8, Northern Virginia, and a lot in my district. And it is creating some interesting phenomenon. I think all of us driving up and down 95 have witnessed all of a sudden being overtaken by 2 or 3 vehicles with very loud mufflers weaving in and out of traffic. Somehow or another, they seem to be attracting each other. We had a very tragic incident in my district on a 4-lane, multi-entrance kind of road where there were apartments and townhouses and shopping centers, where a group of young people were hit in a 40-mile-an-hour zone by a car doing 80 miles an hour. In the conversation we had with the community on a Zoom call, one of the ladies reported that she heard several cars with very, very loud mufflers right before the crash that killed one individual and seriously injured the 2 other young people. And so what I came up with, and we put a work group together, Madam Chair, led by DLS through Nikhil Edwards, with DMV and with the state police to look at a program that operates in this way. This will allow a police officer in this pilot program in Planning District 8 to pull a vehicle over if they suspect that it's too loud and issue basically a summons that says, "We think your muffler's too loud, please have it checked out." And what we've worked out in the district is that with going to be 9 sites in the district where in Planning District 8 where emissions inspections are done, there would be the opportunity for somebody to take their vehicle and have it tested. If it passed and it was 95 decibels or less, it would be fine. If it was over that, then you would be given a period of time, 30 days, to get it fixed. If you don't report in the first place, or you don't get it fixed, and you come back and do not return to have your vehicle re-examined, you would be able to receive a $250 civil penalty that would be added to your next registration. The police cannot enforce these things. They don't enforce these things. And what this will allow a local police department to do is, we're getting a lot of complaints about noisy mufflers, so let's put some officers in this vicinity and hand out these summonses. And hopefully the result will be, Madam Chair, members of the committee, is that people will give up on installing these mufflers. We have one muffler that's in my district that has been altered to sound like a drive-by shooting. This is a way of finding out whether we can get at this problem this way, because the laws on the books right now just aren't being enforced, can't be enforced. The police just don't have the equipment that can stand up in court to having been calibrated properly, and it's just a difficult thing for them. But once the police do this, it's off of their books. We don't have to send cases to court. We don't have to take up court time and expense. And this is finding out a way that we can deal with this problem. And while there is some expense to this, there'll also be civil penalties that will be implied, and it will, I believe, go to the, as I remember the bill, going to the Literary Fund. So in that way, Madam Chair, that is the bill to create this pilot, and I would ask that the committee consider it favorably.
Well, the committee has heard this information a couple of times, and so unless there are any further questions of the patron.
Madam Chair, I just had a quick question for council, just to make sure the way I read it is what it says. It mentions passenger car throughout the paragraphs. This does not apply to motorcycles, correct?
It does not.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I move that we report as presented.
That is the motion, that the bill be reported.
Madam Chair, how much, do we know how much this is going to cost?
I believe it's on your chart. I didn't bring it up here. I believe
$180,000, Madam Chair.
And you have a budget amendment in for this?
I believe I do, yes.
Okay.
Madam Chair, how does this bill relate to one we passed a few years ago for a problem that was occurring in South Side Virginia? I think Senator Ruff had a bill that was
I'm not familiar.
that outlawed certain high. Does staff remember? Know what I'm talking about? Remember that bill? That bill we had a few years ago that was put in at the last minute, maybe put in at the governor's.
Madam Chair, that was Senator Peake's bill on Carolina squat on trucks.
That was
Okay.
That was the way.
That wasn't about noise.
Tilted. No. It was not. And Madam Chair, I might also add that this does not include factory installed equipment that people just bought off the off of an automobile dealer. This will apply to the things that people have installed on their vehicles to make these kinds of noises.
There were two in queue, Senator Favola and Senator Searle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was on the Transportation Committee when Delegate Carr came forward with the bill, and it had to do with a bumper or muffler that had been jazzed up, if you will, that had been amplified to make additional noise. And that's the bill that we ended up, I believe that passed. It was pretty controversial. So souped up mufflers. Do you remember that bill, Senator Marsden? We had a big debate on it, and there was.
Yeah, it is just a question of the police just have no way of enforcing these things. And what this does is gives us a calibrated administrative process to deal with these mufflers, and if people just choose to keep paying a $250 fine, they can continue to do so.
But one way they were dealing with it in
We have heard this testimony before.
Yeah, Delegate, Madam Chair, may I follow up? One way that we had allowed them to deal with it was if the exhaust system or the end of the car had been souped up. But this, I guess, is just another way of dealing with the bill that we had passed before, I believe.
It's a very, very different bill with a very, very different mechanism. And, with the souped up mufflers, officers just have no way of measuring it in the field to be able to determine to write such a summons and take it to court. These things don't belong in court. They should be just administratively handled. And DEQ is willing to issue the contract with the stations that do our emissions inspections to have them do this. And I think it's a worthwhile experiment. It's been done successfully in, I think, Connecticut. And we're at a standpoint where we have to do something. These things are attracting people to each other, to race, to weave in and out of traffic. I don't know why it is. I can't explain it. It's anecdotal information, but I think a lot of us have experienced
Senator
it.
Searle and then Senator Deeds.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Speaking to the bill.
Senator Searle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, first of all, this undoes your Madam Chair's bill.
That's the reason why I'm having hesitation down here.
From 2020. And the reason we enacted this was because it seemed that law enforcement only seemed to find that certain people had loud mufflers and other people didn't, and that it became a reason to get into people's cars and get in their business. And that's why we passed the bill we did, number one. Two, when we passed this, I got a lot of complaints from law enforcement in my district and my board of supervisors, unhappy about it. When I reached out to the state police and asked them, if they were interested in trying to enforce a loud noise, muffler noise thing, and they said, no, we have no interest. We can't figure it out. We don't know how to enforce it. We don't be climbing under cars while we're in the street. And I said, can we do it at state inspections? And they said, no, we can't do it at state inspections. Inspection stations don't know what original equipment is, et cetera. And so, we were in this conundrum trying to figure out how to fix it. I know the Senator's trying to do it here, but what bothers me is that we're, again, authorizing law enforcement to sit there in their car and try and figure out whether something's 94 decibels or 96 decibels driving along in their car in the street. And I don't know how any human being can do that while they're driving in a car. And so what's going to happen here is we're going to have officers picking on certain people because they kind of think it's a thing. And I'll tell you, the reason people put these in their cars is not because they want to race and make noise. It's because their car will accelerate faster with a bigger muffler on it. That's why it's a speed thing. And the last thing I'll just say, Madam Chairman, is that what law enforcement also told me is that some of these devices, you can turn the noise up and down depending on whether you want to go fast or slow or whatever. And so you can modify it as you're driving. So I'm not sure this is going to solve anything except give us another thing to fight about in about a year. But that's kind of where I am.
Well, where I am with this, Senator Marsden, I don't know if you recall, But
I just wasn't gonna
that was a
vote
bill
for it.
that I introduced in 2020 that was a part of an omnibus package. So what you're doing actually is undoing what I did in 2020.
I was under the impression when we heard this in committee that had been undone with regards to
No.
mufflers, not with any other speaker.
No.
That's what I was told in committee, that I think Delegate Carr's bill may have done that. I believe that's true, Madam Chair. We kept it in for stickers, for inspection stickers and registrations, car registrations, but because this was impacting other people, whereas the
Senator
stickers
Favola,
didn't.
Senator Marston, we've heard this bill for the last 4 years, some part of it. Senator Favola.
Madam Chair, I have the greatest respect for the patron, but I don't think this is going to give us the information we need, and I guess I would move that we carry this bill over.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be carried over. All in favor of that motion or not, please designate electronically. This is to carry over.
Ayes 9, no 6.
Ayes 9, no 6, the bill will be continued.
Thank you.
Senator Obenchain, looks like you're up next. You have a committee substitute. We have a committee substitute. Can I get a motion? Oh,
I'll move the substitute.
it's been moved and second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye. Aye. Tie.
Yes, Madam Chair, the substitute has the definition that Senator Obenchain wants to clarify to the school construction fund, which is where casino tax revenue is going.
This bill is for the regional schools so that they're eligible for the grant program. Schools operated like by Augusta and Stanton or Rockingham and Harrisonburg jointly, that because of an anomaly in the code, they're not deemed eligible to apply for a grant program that Rockingham schools could apply for.
I'll move to report the bill as amended or the substitute.
There's a motion to report the bill with the committee substitute. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically. Senator Favola?
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute. Senator Servo, you're up next. We saved my bill for last.
And you've got Delegate Carol Foy out there now. She's got a bill.
Carol Foy. She's hiding behind the page. Senator Carol Foy, you want to step up?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Senate Bill 489. This bill directs the Department of Housing and Community Development to convene a technical advisory committee to develop draft legislation establishing a Virginia Residential Development Infrastructure Fund with a report to be submitted to the General Assembly no later than the first day of 2025. The agency may
There
incur
is a
costs.
substitute.
I'm sorry.
There is a committee substitute.
Madam Chair,
Oh,
I think there's a
yes.
committee substitute.
There's the committee.
There's a motion,
And I'd move the substitute.
and there's a motion and a second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Senator Carol Foy, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The agency may incur a cost of approximately $19,500, but we do believe that they may be able to absorb this cost as well. And if the clerk can report the substitute,
Yes.
please.
Report the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded that substitute be reported. All in favor, please designate, please, electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're very welcome.
Her AK says she wishes to strike the bill.
Before we move to Senator Servo, Senator Pekarsky would like for her bill to be stricken, and that's Senate Bill 385. So without objection, yep. We do need to do that electronically, don't we? So all in favor of the patron striking the bill, please let your preference be known electronically. Thank you.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. Okay. Senator Servo, it's down to the two of us.
I'll be quick, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 329, I think is the one you want me to cover first, right?
Yes.
Okay, Senate Bill 329 has to do with composting. Y'all might remember I passed a bill a couple of years ago about creating incentives for us to have more biomethane, so we don't have to rely on fracked methane in our state. And one of the ways you can make biomethane is through composting of materials. And this bill does three things. Number one, it requires the Department of General Services, when procuring compost or other products, to be able to have a preference for composting produced in Virginia. And it sets a threshold of 4% greater bid price. And that's to try and incentivize the creation of composting in Virginia. The second thing is allows localities at their local option, doesn't require anything, but a local option to require the segregation of organic waste when people or companies or others put out their trash, so that we can create a waste stream so that people can have a stream for an anaerobic digester. The third thing it does, Madam Chair, is that it requires local schools when they rebuild or renovate a school, the waste part of the school where they put out the dumpsters to be able to, and they put the trash away, to be able to segregate organic trash from non-organic trash. And that's forward-looking. It doesn't require any retrofits or anything else. It's similar to the legislation that was passed in Maryland, which is way ahead of us on composting and biomethane. And that's basically what the bill does.
You've heard the presentation.
Now I would move
Madam
the
Page.
report.
Madam Chair, I've got a substitute motion that we carry the bill over and refer it to the Public Body Procurement Work Group. This is a good idea. I think that I compost all the time, but I think we've got some figuring out to do on this one.
Madam Chairman.
Senator Servo.
Thank you. The recommendations, the things in this bill are consistent with the recommendations of the governor's work group, DEQ put together relating to composting. It actually follows their recommendations. So, I mean, all they're going to do is come back and say the bill is exactly what we recommended.
Senator Servo, the best I can do for you is carry by for the day.
Okay.
So what's your preference?
Okay, we'll carry by, but then maybe we can take the procurement piece out if there's concern about that.
Could I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill will go by for the day. All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Senator Servo.
The other one's what?
506.
506. This has to do with council at our colleges. So the bill does three things. Number one, it clarifies who hires general counsel for our university, our state-supported universities. Number two, it allows a board of visitors to have non-voting faculty representatives on their board of visitors. The chairman of the Ed and Health Committee wanted that. And the third thing is it clarifies the duty of loyalty. So really quick on the general counsel piece, right now, sort of over time, it's developed that in our universities that the attorney general basically hires and fires and decides who is counsel at our universities, all the way down to like the university hospital level, like way down. And since we've adopted our system where we have these level 3 schools where they operate independently, that creates lots of conflicts because the attorney general's office isn't always like in alignment with the way the school wants to be run. If we had a unified system like they do in California or somewhere else, that might make more sense. But where we have a board of visitors that manages each school, it doesn't make sense. So this allows each board of visitors to hire their general counsel and everybody underneath. For smaller schools, it allows them to opt out and still rely on the attorney general exclusively for their legal advice if they want. The bill also allows that if a school wants the attorney general's help, they can ask for it. And they also have to get the AG's advice for settlements over $5 million. And they also have the authority to hire their own outside counsel if they can't handle something in-house. The second thing the bill does, again, is the chairman of Ed and Health wanted us to have a faculty rep on the board of visitors, a non-voting faculty rep. That was another thing that the bill adopted. And the last thing was there's been some confusion about who the board of visitors is loyal to, whether they're supposed to be loyal to their university first or to the Commonwealth first. The attorney general put out an opinion that says they're loyal to the Commonwealth first. I've had several people on boards of visitors reach out to me that says that's created a ton of confusion because they thought they were put on a board of visitors to look out for the school first, the state second. That's basically what the bill does. It makes clear they look out for the school first, the state second, not the state first, the school second. So it clarifies that issue. That's basically what the three things the bill does.
You've heard their presentation by the patron. Any questions of the committee? Comments?
Move we report.
Motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported.
Madam
Please.
Chair.
Oh, Senator Urban.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Obenshain, I didn't see you in queue.
That's all right. Madam Chair, let me just say that there is a real benefit in having independent counsel. We see corporations all the time that wind up getting in hot water because they hire counsel who feels that their obligation is to support what the university or what the corporation does. We may not always agree with the Attorney General, but fact is we've got a measure of independence here. Attorney Generals come and go. The education staff in the Attorney General's office are longtime professionals. And as a matter of fact, I heard from a former Democrat Attorney General of Virginia yesterday who indicated that this is really an important issue to maintain representation by the Attorney General's office to provide that kind of independent counsel to the universities, not necessarily just to agree with the president. So I would hope that we'd take a really deep look at this before moving on it.
I don't think there's a lot of opposition to it. In fact, I agree with you, but I maybe should not be saying that. But we operate by motion.
Move to report.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, say aye. No, you're going to vote electronically. It's getting late in the day. We got one more bill left, and that's my bill. Senator Dees, I will have to turn the gavel over to you so that we can, so that I can present Senate Bill 119. I'm sorry.
Family insurance.
Let me report that first. That vote was what, 14?
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill is reported. Senator Servo, what did you get to? Okay. He's being Saslaw right now.
Sorry, Madam Chair, am I back up?
No, we just reported your bill.
Thank you.
Senator Lucas, you've got Senate Bill 119.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I do. And Senate Bill 119 addresses the unfortunate challenges arising from some key pharmaceutical manufacturers arbitrarily limiting shipment of 340B discounted drugs to one pharmacy or contract pharmacy per federally qualified health center districts. The current industry practice unnecessarily limits access to important discounted medications to over 36,000 Virginians who are served by federally qualified health centers in this key safety net program. My bill, Senate Bill 119, is designed to change this practice and incentivize a small number of large drug manufacturers to lift their restrictions on shipment of 340B drugs. I have several, no, I'm done right there. So, Mr. Chairman, the bill simply says that as a condition for receiving or renewing a permit for Virginia manufacturers or registrations for out-of-state manufacturers must certify that it does not limit the number of locations to which it ships 340B eligible drugs. That's the essence of the bill.
Okay, does the committee understand the bill? Are there any questions for Senator Lucas? The bill's before the committee.
Move to report.
Okay, we've had a motion and a second to report. Are there other motions? Please open the roll.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill reports. Senator Lucas, do you have another?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That this is the last bill for the docket, and so with all our work being done, I promise we would get out here by 11 o'clock. The committee shall rise.
The Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia.